Okay, welcome to Tools from the Access Consciousness Foundation. I'm going to open the book and let's see what pops. I use every single one of these tools all the time, and I love playing with them and I love sharing them. So let's see. We're going to open it right here, and I opened it to the page that says, "Nothing happens to you. Victim, victimizer, and control." So this was a really monumental awareness that I had after taking this class and using these tools, is that nothing happens to us. You know, we think that things happen to us. Nothing actually happens to us. We choose and create everything. Now, you might be like, well, no, I wouldn't choose a horrible thing to happen to me, or I wouldn't choose, to be abused, or I wouldn't choose, or whatever. But one of the things that has created so much freedom for me is looking from the perspective of, I'm an infinite being, and hello, little butterfly. I'm an infinite being, and what if we chose, what if before we even came into this lifetime, to this body, we actually chose a lot of what's going to actually occur, so that it gifts us kind of like the fuel and the possibility and the oomph and the energy and the circumstances that we require to become more as infinite beings. So we choose a lot of things, and then we also continue to choose based on our points of view. Your point of view creates your reality, and your reality does not create your point of view. So we choose based on our points of view about how the world is, and that is how the world shows up. And this may, and it doesn't mean that we're consciously aware of what we're choosing. We actually oftentimes are choosing from unconsciousness or anti-consciousness. But when you become aware that you're choosing everything, you're creating everything, you actually get to have a different possibility. Because then you can start to choose more consciously and based on the future you would like to have, not what you think is possible or impossible. And so a great question to ask is, what choice did I make that created this? If there's something that you've chosen that's showed up in your life that wasn't ideal, that you weren't excited about, that you weren't happy about, start to look at, okay, so what are the choices that I'm making that are creating my life that is showing up right now? And how could you be choosing different? I love this butterfly. And because when we acknowledge, and here's the victim part of it, is that when we acknowledge when we acknowledge that we choose everything, it's not about, and then you've got to make yourself wrong because this happened or that happened, because nothing happens, right? When you acknowledge that you choose everything, you acknowledge that you can choose everything. So you actually then have a greater space of choice and possibilities. So now it's about going, okay, well, if I chose that and I created that shit show or whatever, I could choose something totally different. And I remember doing this when I got divorced. I was like, okay, so I chose that relationship. I chose all the things that went on in that relationship. And I started to look at, okay, so what was that about? What were the choices that I did make that created it? And, kind of where was that coming from? And what if I came from a different point of view? If you have the point of view that you were put into a situation based on circumstances outside of your control, or somebody else, being mean to you, or somebody else putting you there, something other than you putting you there, then you're going to have to wait for that very thing that puts you there to get you out of that situation. If you acknowledge that you chose it, then you are the one, you are immediately empowering yourself to choose something different. And you can start to, and that it's like, if you put yourself there, you can get yourself out. If you lock yourself into a room, you can unlock it and get yourself out. If somebody else locks you in, you're gonna have to wait for them to get you out. What if you are far more powerful than you know, and choice is one of your greatest assets?